Amara. I am here for Women in Shoes magazine, doing an interview with another female entrepreneur, very innovative woman. She is the director of director of Hustler and Heal Society, and the owner of S.H.E by Schericka.com. If you guys are on social media, make sure that you're following us on Women in Shoes Mag, online.com, and as well on Instagram. Welcome, Schericka.
Hello, how are you doing, Tamara?
Good. We're glad to have you back. It's always awesome to just kind of follow women in their journey and just see what they're doing later on in their journey, so it's great to have you back.
Well, thank you so much. I'm happy to be back. It's major changes taken since then, but thank you so much for having us back.
So first, I want to make sure that you give everybody your social media, give them your website, make sure that they have all of your contact information so they can follow along as we're talking.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Actually, my name officially is Schericka G. The website for S.H.E by Schericka is just that. It's SHEBySchericka.com. Our email address is sheworksit.inc@gmail.com, and the telephone number in which we can be reached is 843-862-0283. All across our actual social media, our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook is also known as S.H.E by Schericka. So those are the ways in which you get in contact with us, the way in which you kind of see what we're doing, what new journeys we're embarking on, and that's actually how you would reach out to us if you ever need to or you need to look at anything.
And I love it when people keep their brand messaging very simple, so we don't have to think too hard and we can just find you across the board everywhere.
Well, thank you. I actually had to learn that. It wasn't that way initially, but I did learn that that way.
So tell us a little bit. We're going to update from the last time we talked to you. We did talk about the Hustler and Heal Society, but you just overall have kind of revamped your brand and just have a lot of great new things going on right now. So just kind of catch us up from the last time that we spoke.
Awesome. Well, like I said, initially it was the Hustlers and Heal Society. That somewhat was the platform that started everything. It was just a meeting place for us to go as women on social media, to be able to congregate, to kind of offer words of wisdom, inspiration. So pretty much that was the platform. Slowly we made the transition to another name, in my miraculous ways of how God works. He allowed that S.H.E name to come to me, giving me the meaning and the message and all of that. So fast forward, we now call ourselves S.H.E by Schericka. Same basis, same premise, but the total message for the brand as S.H.E is being strength, humility, and excellence. We want women to understand that regardless of what their journeys, their paths, what mistakes they've made, what new comings they're being a part of, that we all possess those three characteristics as women. So we simply say in the motto of S.H.E is that I am she, she is me. She is every woman that there is, no matter what demographic, what education, no matter what. She is all of us. So we constantly like to get that message across in the brand and in the message and everything that we do for S.H.E by Schericka. So that's pretty much the premise of it. We've actually gotten a website now. We're on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and it's just pretty much you'll find a lot of images of the ladies, of the women simply rocking their S.H.E in whatever way they choose to, whether it's in a tank, whether it's a T-shirt, whether it's a dress. We don't ever want it to be to where the brand makes you feel as though you have to be conformed into a certain way. We want you to rock your S.H.E your way. Mine generally is probably going to be with a pair of pearls. Somebody else may probably be with, bangles or what have you. That's kind of what I'm known for. But we want it to be to where you don't necessarily let the brand wear you. You wear the brand. You turn your S.H.E into whatever you want it to be symbolized and whatever you want it to come across as. Because I feel like when you're in your authentic self, that's when everybody gets the best of you. So that's kind of what we want the message to be. You're in your own truth at all times.
I love that you talk about, being your authentic self and being in your own truth. One thing that I encountered, because I've always tried to figure out, am I actually a feminist or what is it? But, I'm always pro-women, women's empowerment, that type of thing. And one thing that happens when I come across women is that no matter what age. It could be women who are a little younger, women who are like maybe mid-30s, even women into their 40s and 50s. Sometimes they don't know what that's like to walk in their authentic self, to really speak their truth. Some women are maybe afraid to do so, or they don't know what that looks like. Can you talk a little bit about your journey with just living in your authentic self?
Well, I'll be the first to tell you, I didn't always know what that was, and that's just my truth in that. I think you learn your authentic self by going through the things that all of us go through in life. You have to make those mistakes. You have to have those times to where you're clueless. You have to have those times to where you're simply just trying to find your way, because in that's part of the journey in the self-discovery. And I think sometimes we so much want to hurry up and know who we're going to be when we're 30 rather than enjoying the journey from 20 to 30, because that's part of the process. And until you can get to a point to where you stop focusing on the wrongs that you've made along the journey and more so focus on the fact that you've endured the journey, I think it's all about changing your mindset. I think once we can begin to reprogram ourselves and get ourselves to a point to where we look at things differently, that makes us begin to live our lives differently. So there is no right or wrong, and I will say I feel like that's the true answer to anyone. There is no right or wrong in the path that we take to that self-discovery. It's just about embracing whatever your journey is and being okay with that, and not doing a comparison or a overanalyzing of self in the process, because I feel like that's what we sometimes do. We want to pick apart every single part of it rather than saying, okay, this is my journey and just let me accept it for that. And I think once you accept that, I think that's where the truth comes in. Once you understand the fact that, you know what, I've been married 2 times and divorced 2 times, until you can accept that truth and move on, then there's really no way you can really find who your authentic self is, because you're pretty much going to be in the denial of the whole situation. So you just got to accept life for what it is and try to find better ways of being okay with self, rather than constantly doing a comparison of self to someone else. That's the way that I look at it.
That whole compare and contrast portion is just huge. I think it's been magnified with social media, because everything is so immediate and it's so voyeuristic. You get an immediate peek into what you think is actually going on in someone else's life. And so I think it makes it more difficult. I have girlfriends that say, oh, it's really awesome that you're doing what you're doing, but I haven't figured out what it is that I do. And I think sometimes people think that in order for you to be great or to be this awesome human being, that you have to do something that has a creative vibe.
You just have to be in your truth about it. Yeah, you just have to be in truth. I think we all do great things every day, some of us on larger scales, some of us on smaller scales. So I think it's just about being in your truth is what makes it great. We can all walk around all day telling a lie and everybody think we're the bomb. But until you can be in that truth, to me, that's when you're really doing something. Because if I'm not living in truth, there's honestly nothing that I can tell Samara if I'm being a hypocrite about everything that I do every day. You've got to be in that authenticity of it. You have to be in the truth of it. Because at the end of the day, if you're not in that truth, then you can't tell someone else across from you that's doing the exact same thing and going through the exact phase as you are in your life. If you're not already in your truth, you really don't have anything to really sow into that person, because you're not authentic about it. You're just telling them what you think in the moment of. And I think that makes a great deal of difference even in how they're actually going to receive whatever it is that you're saying. So just as part of S.H.E, that's what we really want the message to get across, is that whatever your truth is, be okay with that, and rather than comparing your truth and where you aren't yet and what you haven't accomplished yet to comparing it to someone else, because everybody can look beautiful on the outside, but the fact is, are you okay on the inside? That's what really matters. That's what really matters.
What you do is empowering women, but we're also looking to you to help women to follow their dreams. Women come to you and they maybe don't have a blueprint for where they want to go, but they know that there's a fire inside of them and they know that there's a bigger plan. How do you kind of help guide them towards, maybe attaining those goals and attaining their dreams?
I simply tell them that I didn't have a blueprint because I didn't. I can't tell someone that I meant to have a female empowerment brand and this is my dream from 3 years ago, because it wasn't. It was one of those things in which people have to understand that we can chase the dream, but it's different when you're chasing the dream and you know the dream is a God-given dream. It's a total different set of fire. It's a total different set of ambition and a total different set of will. For me, it was a little bit different because I can say hands down that she was a God-given vision because it's simply something that he gave to me, and I asked him what the words meant, and he gave it to me, and I prayed on it, and then he just said go. So since then, I've just been going, and that's just the truth of the matter. So when people get in my inbox, so when girls reach out to me randomly that are from where I'm from and say thank you so much for what you're doing, keep going, little do they know that the day before I honestly wanted to give up because it is a task. It is a task when every day you're attempting to sow parts of yourself into someone else because that's all they need is that glimpse that if she can do it, I can do it. That's what I want to come across, that you don't have to have a bank account full of money. You don't have to have all of the answers. You don't have to have a blueprint. The fact is that you have to first and foremost consciously make up within your mind that you want to do it first, and then after that, just do it. Because everyone isn't going to have that business plan. Everyone isn't going to have that financial backing that some other businesses and some other brands have. But the question that you have to ask yourself is how bad do you want it? Because when you can say how bad you want it, then that's going to determine whether you stay stagnant or whether you just go. And that's just simply it. You got to want it. And when you want it, you will find a way to make it happen. I do it every day. I do it every day.
Oh, completely. And sometimes you get through your day and you're like, oh, I got all of that done.
Oh, I got it done. Thank you. That's what you feel like,
You're like, how many of me did it take to get all of that done? Okay.
But it's so fulfilling at the end of it because at times you want to give up. People don't understand that it's a work. Whether you're doing whatever as a brand, it doesn't matter. But I'm learning that as a business owner and as in trying to have a brand, that you have to be willing to sacrifice pieces of yourself every day. Because until a person can see that they have your heart and you have theirs, they can buy your pieces all day. They can buy your books all day. But if you're not giving a piece of your heart into the book, a piece of your heart into the tea design, then to me personally, you're doing it for nothing. You've got to leave a piece of you with every person that you meet. You have to.
Let's talk a little bit, because we're talking about women's empowerment. We're talking about just helping other women follow their dreams. Let's talk a little bit about support, because that's one of the other things that I do hear from other women. I'm so excited about movements like, Black Girl Magic, women's empowerment, all of that stuff that is coming back to the forefront again, just for women as a whole, not just women of color, but just for women as a whole. Exactly. But one thing I do hear a lot of women say is, I don't necessarily have the support, or I don't necessarily have the friends or, tight friendships or things like that. What kind of things would you suggest to a woman who maybe feels that way, or if that is totally her reality, as far as maintaining on her journey to entrepreneurship or to achieving her goal?
I would tell her to first and foremost, whether it's sit down and write out or whether it's pray about, but I would say find ways of ushering those women in to yourself. Because sometimes when you're so quick to go out searching, you sometimes grab hold to something that appears to be something that you think it is, but it's really not. So it's almost one of those things where don't go out and chase it. Honestly, let it be ushered in to you. Because God, in anything, God knows what you need. He's not going to, if he knows you need someone that's a little bit more nurturing, he's not going to send you somebody that's going to bite your head off every day. It's about finding what it is and not settling for prematurely what we know that we don't need. So if I know that I need a group of sister girls that are going to be supportive and be, resourceful in what I'm trying to do, then that's what you begin to set yourself towards in going out, not necessarily looking for, but being open to, because they're around you all day, every day. You just have to open your eyes wide enough to be able to see them. You have to open your ears wide enough to be able to hear them because they're there, but you want to make sure that you're not so desperate for it that you settle for anything just because it appears to be what you're looking for. So I say get yourself in those, groups in the community, whether it's volunteering, whether it's, working with the schools and the hospitals. They're all around us, because first you want to find someone that has that kind of heart, and it's far beyond being a sister friend, just has that heart of nurturing and loving in general, and you put yourself in those types of environments, you're going to naturally find those types of women because that's where they are. They're into those roles that are more nurturing and more attentive type roles, and that's kind of, I think, how you find them.
I think we could even just pull this one thing as a topic all on its own, just to really set the foundation for a lot of women, because what you said is really huge, just having a discerning eye and saying, you know what, I asked for this. This is the type of thing that I need in my life, and not settling and accepting something else that comes your way. And I think the other portion of that is being what you want to attract. Exactly. So, I think it's hard to say I want positive, supportive women who are going to be empowering in my life, but you're not positive and you're not empowering and you're not supportive.
Right, because they're looking for you the same way you're looking for them. Everybody's watching everybody. We don't say anything, but that's the truth of the matter. The same way you're listening to me, I'm listening to you. The same way you feel my energy, I feel your energy. So you will attract what it is that you give off. So you find yourself being encouraging and being a motivator. And I tell the girls all the time that I've met along the journey, you all think I feed into you every day. Boy, oh boy, do you not know what I get from you every day. When I can look back at the inbox message and someone send me a picture, or when I can look into, my personal texts and say, look what this sister girl sent me on Wednesday. They think that they help me, that I help them, but truly they help me, and that's what keeps me going at times that I do get overwhelmed. It's a fact of knowing that not only am I feeding something into them, truly every day they're feeding into my spirit, and they have no idea that they're doing it. That's the beauty about it.
Oh, that is so powerful. That is so powerful, because that is totally, I think, what helps with all of our connections and just being empowering and just being spiritually, I think, connected with one another, just being so helpful. Because, that happened to me recently. I had a girlfriend, I just told her, I said, oh, thank you so much, because I, just been kind of going through a storm, and she's always there picking up the phone and just kind of helping me out through it. And she said, no, but one thing that you don't notice is that you really helped and inspired me. She's like, because you're going through all this crap. And at the end of the day, you started this blog and, got all these women together, and, you're just really making this stuff happen. And she's like, it's all the stuff that we've talked about before. And she said, I'm sitting here trying to figure out how you did that in the midst of all the stuff you had going on. And I'm like, wow. So you don't realize when you walk in your truth, everything that we're talking about today, walking in your truth, when you are what you want to attract, when you are giving out all these positive vibes, you don't realize how inspiring that is to someone else, and how you can call all those things back to yourself.
You can. And I'm living witness of it every day. And I think, honestly, because everybody knows I'm going to go back to the spiritual sense of it, because it's what started it. But I think that's the beauty, I think, of why God is blessing She the way that He is, because I think it's more of something in which we've laid the foundation in the spiritual sense. We met in a group where that's where all we posted was scripture, was word, was encouragement. So what we've in the beginning even done is we've already planted the seed. So right now I just look at it as though this is God watering it and giving it the sunshine that it needs, just for the opportunity for an interview such as this. I think that part of the reaping from seeds that we've sown in the brand long ago, with sisters helping me and me helping them. So I think people don't understand everything in which it happens in your life is coming full circle of something that you've already done way, way before. And I think that's what we have to begin to look at it. We have to every day be willing to sow into someone else. And in us doing so, there's going to come a point from days from now, weeks from now, months from now, that God's going to allow someone else to come full circle back into our lives to give us what it is that we need. And that's what keeps everybody going, the constant sowing of the seed.
Oh, definitely. And I love that you do incorporate that in everything that you do, because it is about those connections. It's about using your talents and your time to be a blessing to someone else, and that's how we're all interconnected. And I think sometimes people miss out on that portion, when they're, they may have a great business plan. They may have an awesome product. They may be smart as a whip. But, when you're missing that whole people piece, that whole connections piece.
You do need to connect. You have to connect, and I think that's the thing. You can talk to someone all day and, like you said, have a fabulous product, but if a person doesn't see the genuine in you, if they don't see that trust factor and that believable factor, then you can have the biggest name brand that there is, but if you have no connect, your sale is gone, because people want someone that they can connect with. And I'm not just saying it for the brand of She. I'm just saying in general, when you go and you try to give a person a service or offer a person a product, if a person doesn't feel a connection with you in the fact that you care, the fact that I am wearing your product or I have invested my money, then if you don't care, then why should I care? And I think that's why I think we push the brand and we represent the brand the way that we do, because we want people to understand, I don't just want you to wear She, but I want you to eat, sleep, and breathe She. And when I say that, I want you to know what those 3 letters mean. If you can wear it, but you can't tell me what it means, then you have to ask yourself the question, are you authentically being She? Because you got to know that it represents strength. It represents humility. It represents excellence. You got to know that, because that's a part of you. So don't just wear it. Don't just snap, take pictures. Don't just be pretty. Be pretty, but still be serving a purpose. Because when you can do that, then that makes a bigger connection to where now the next sister wants to wear it, because she sees the confidence that you have and the fact that you look at yourself differently, not by wearing the clothes, but how it makes you feel knowing that you're a part of something that is on its way to becoming something greater. And that is something that I do believe wholeheartedly.
So you've revamped the brand. You've been in business for a while now, and then you have the new brand anniversary coming up in 2017, which is literally right around the corner, because this year has flown by. So
It is.
So tell us a little bit about what you have in store for the rest of 2016 and what you have coming up in 2017.
Okay. What we have left in the rest of 2016 is we actually have 2 fashion shows that we're about to be a part of in the month of September and October. So where we will pretty much just introduce a couple of more new designs that will pretty much be what carries us over for the remainder of the year for 2016. Actually, we did an announcement about a couple weeks ago, pushing a month ago, that what we've done all year is we've compiled all the pics of the Sisters of She, and we've kept all of those images. And what we're going to now do to introduce in January is pretty much a calendar that pretty much is called the Faces of She. And we want it to represent all of the ladies that have been a part of the journey, whether they bought a coffee cup, a pillow, whether they bought a tank or tea. We want to showcase you rocking your She and all of your smiles and all of your, updos and cuteness. We want to be able to put that on display. But the proceeds from the actual calendar is actually going to be used to push another division of what She will do in 2017, and that will be to actually introduce its nonprofit, which will be called the She Gems. And that is for teenage girls, just as a way of showing them to love themselves again, to not lose who they are for the sake of various things. So we do want to start that nonprofit for 2017. So that's what the calendar is going to be used to fund. And then we have the anniversary party coming in January. So at the anniversary party, we'll be introducing a lot of new partnerships that the actual brand will have. We will reintroduce some that it's had this year with occasional blends, which takes care of all of She's candles, and also Fenwick candles that takes care of all of our wax melts. So we will reintroduce them, as well as about 4 or 5 other partnerships that we're working on with some other sister girl brands to bring you what I like to say, a total She experience. And I think everybody's going to love what we have in store.
So give us your website, definitely, because with you revamping the brand, we want to make sure that everybody not only follows on social media, which is awesome for you to get little tidbits and kind of keep up regularly, but we want you to also make sure that you go to the website, sign up for the email list, sign up for the newsletter, sign up for all the updates. So give us the website again.
The website is www.S.H.E.com. There you will find a full list, not a full list, but you will find the initial 13 to 15 designs that the brand started with. Since then, we've gotten about 15 more that actually aren't on the website as of yet because there were more pop-up items. But the ones that you find on the website are generally the ones that we will pretty much have from now until then. Until the end. So the website is still there. It's some good stuff there. It tells about our She Works It Masterminds group, which is a group that we actually do a lot of networking amongst sister girls. So that's something that's there. Also, you'll find our Morning She, which is just a little bit of morning inspiration that you can be finding there. And also you'll have the link to the Hustlers in Heels Society, which is a lot of inspiration, a lot of encouraging messages. So that's also good to have as well.
Well, thank you for coming back and sharing your update with us and letting us know where you are now. You've got so many good things going on. We want to make sure that everybody's following you and just going with you with the whole She movement and with Hustlers in Heels.
Well, thank you so much. Again, you can find us across social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and all of those social media outlets will be at She by Schericka. So you can find us there. Check out some of the things that we're doing. We have a lot of projects that we're working on, just a lot of innovative stuff. So, ladies, we would love you to be a part of the She movement because I think it's some great stuff in store. So we would love for you to be a part of it.
Thank you, Schericka.
Thank you so much, Tamara.
This is Tamara for Women. Following Women in Shoes all across the internet, womeninshoesmag.com and Women in Shoes Mag on Instagram. And also make sure that you're following my blog, Caramel Lattes and Stilettos, all across the internet. It's caramellattesandstilettos.com as well as on.
I know you wanna take my part in the limelight.